What's up, y'all? It's your boy eBay Predictions. We're at UFC 253, but we are going to be breaking down Dominick Reyes versus Juan Blachowicz. They will be fighting for the vacant light heavyweight title of the world. Dominick Reyes comes in 12-1. He's the number one light heavyweight in the world. Fights. I'm pretty sure he fights out of Denver, Colorado. Age 30, height of 6'4", and a reach of 77. Juan Blachowicz fights out of Poland. Age 30, 37. That's actually interesting. And a height of 6'2", and a reach of 78. So he has the reach advantage. I was actually kind of surprised. I thought Dominic would have the reach advantage. In terms of notable wins for Dominick Reyes, we're looking at. You gotta look at Chris Weidman. Can you call the Volkan Ozdemir fight a victory? I don't know about that, but we'll talk more about that fight. I'd have to say Ovince St. Preux and then Jared Cannonier. I think when you look at what Jared Cannonier is doing at the middleweight division, that's a pretty good win to have. Now we look at Blachowicz, right? Now he has a lot. He has also a win over Jared Cannonier, but I won't consider that a notable win for him because it wasn't a big deal when he did it. But in terms of notable wins right now, the last three he got Corey Anderson, Jacare Souza, and Luke Rockhold. All right, I think that those three wins are beautiful. But even if you look before his loss actually to Thiago Santos, he was coming off a long streak, a 4-fight win streak over Nikita Krylov, Jimmy Manuwa, Jared Cannonier, and Devin Clark, right? So this guy, he's been putting in tremendous work. If you take out really the Thiago Santos victory, he's on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-fight win streak when you really think about it, right? So it's a very very experienced guy. Nothing against Dominic. I'm not the biggest fan of Dominick Reyes, if you can see my tone about him. But here's one thing I'll give him. I thought he beat John Jones. I'll be honest, I really did. It was a good fight. It was a close fight, I thought. I thought the first 3 rounds clearly went to Dominick Reyes. But I saw him break in the championship rounds. That, obviously, in my opinion, shouldn't go in the process of judging a fight. But it should go in the process of how you look at this guy, right? What is his intangibles in the 4th and 5th round? Now, have we seen Blachowicz? We saw him in the 4th and 5th rounds against Jacare Souza, and I thought he looked pretty good. I thought he really won the fight actually in the 5th round where he kind of stumbled Jacare, right? But yeah, you look at these intangibles, right, and you look at the heart, the dedication, right? He calls himself an athlete, but what he really got in those 4th and 5th rounds, right? And that's what I really look at him. I look at his hardest fights, right, at Dominick Reyes, because I know there's a lot of people that love this kid, man. A lot of people have been writing for this kid, telling me that Efferson, he's the guy. It's not John Jones and Israel Adesanya we got to be thinking about. It's Dominick Reyes versus Israel Adesanya and shit like that. And I think that's fucking ludicrous. I thought this kid was special when I saw him fight Ovince St. Preux. I thought he had a really good left hand and a really good step back left hand counter. I don't know if it's left or it's right, but it's cross. Let's just say it's cross, right? It was a good, like, his boxing is really really good. He has really good counters. I call him more of a counter striker than anything. He just is really good overall. But here's what I see. As much as he calls himself an athlete, I don't see the work ethic in there. And in terms of when it's 1-1, what do you do in the 3rd round? And that's what I saw in the Volkan Ozdemir fight. If you look at that fight, this guy, Dominick Reyes, he says it himself. Not a lot of people know this for some weird reason. I always see people, they say like, oh, he stopped takedowns from John Jones, or not. He got up from takedowns from John Jones, and he doesn't even have a wrestling background. Actually, you're wrong. He's a 2-time state high school champion in his high school, and a lot of people don't know that. He said that in the Brendan Schaub interviews. He said that a lot in a lot of places actually where he talk, even in the countdown for John Jones versus Reyes, and it's really interesting when I see people that they talk about this guy and they don't even know that. But here's the thing: as a 2-time state champion, right, in high school, I hold that to a high regard. I'll be honest, man, I couldn't do that in high school, right? So when I see a guy like that, I'm like, man, that guy's a stud, right? This guy, he let a kickboxer, right? Let's put this in perspective, guys. He let a kickboxer out wrestle him in that fight. I literally, I've seen people try to downplay that, right, and say, "Oh, Volkan Ozdemir fell on him." Like, I've literally seen people describe that and try to like take that, that wrestling offense that Volkan Ozdemir did on him. No, that was a pure double leg. All right, that was a pure blast double leg that he hit on Dominick Reyes. There ain't nothing about it that was fluky. There ain't nothing about falling. Ain't no tripping. No nothing. This guy got out wrestled. A 2-time state champion in high school wrestling, folk style wrestling, by the way. Got out wrestled by a kickboxer. Has no wrestling background at all. All right, let's just be honest, right? So, and that's how I look at this guy. He's athletic. I'll give him that. Footwork wise, he has really good footwork. He's really good offensively. Defensively, he's good too. If you look at that fight against John Jones, he had a beautiful slip to uppercut counter on him. It was beautiful. It was like an uppercut counter, and it was beautiful, man. I always give him that. It was a beautiful counter, but it just, in terms of what I see, is those. I saw his toughness, man. I really saw his heart in those 4th and 5th rounds, and especially in that fight against Volkan Ozdemir, and I just wasn't impressed. But one thing I'll say about that kid, he's a finisher, though. He'll finish you. I'll give him that. Against Chris Weidman, I doubted him. I really did. I just did not think he was. From what I seen in his Volkan Ozdemir fight, I just thought the wrestling pressure from Weidman would get this kid, and he proved a lot of people wrong that day. Well, not a lot. He proved me wrong. I'll say that straight. He proved me wrong, and I think this guy has all the intangibles to be the champion of the division. I just don't think this guy is going to be this long-term champion or the next John Jones or the next light heavyweight go. I just think John has been kind of figured out. Really, what I've noticed, if you look at a lot of John Jones fights, a lot of people had a hard time getting offense on him and kind of imposing their will on him and kind of even having the confidence to go at it with him and come after him. If you look at a lot of his fights, he kind of just stops people and impose. They're just not able to do anything, and they're kind of like having the staring contest with him, right? You especially really saw it in this Anthony Smith fight. Like, Anthony Smith told the whole world that he was gonna go out there and go after him and try to attack him, and he didn't do it. He said he wasn't gonna have a staring contest, and he had a staring contest really with John Jones, and John Jones imposed his will on him, took him down numerous times, and kind of stopped him. Dominick Reyes in that fight, he imposed his will, threw a lot of offense at him, threw a lot of different moves at him that he really didn't do in a lot of his other fights. He threw like a high kick at him. He really came after John in that fight, and he proved that. And also he came at him with a really high volume boxing offense in those first 3 rounds. I felt like. So I feel like that's how he won. Same thing, if you look at the Thiago Santos thing, Thiago was really wild and had no care for John's offense. He just kept going forward, and he just kept doing that, and that's why he had a lot of success in his fight. So, yeah, he won because he outworked John. I don't think he's better than John. I think he outworked. There's a difference, right? Between being, better than someone and then outworking somebody, right? You see it a lot, right? But that's how I look at Dominick Reyes. Now, how do I look at Juan Blachowicz, man? This guy he's 37, right? So it's do or die right now, and he wants a belt. I look at this guy, right? Let's actually go back to his record, right? This is a guy before the Devin Clark victory had losses to Patrick Cummins, Corey Anderson, and Jimmy Manuwa after that, actually. Yeah, right? I look at that. He was really so-so in the UFC, right? Did not just have the best run. His first run. I think he got, I don't know, did he get cut? I think he got cut, right? I look at that a lot, right? After that, he goes on that crazy run where he ends up having victories over a former UFC champion, Luke Rockhold, over a former Strikeforce champion in Jacare Souza, and a promising contender in Corey Anderson, right? I look at that, and you know what I see? I see grit, determination, and a willingness to not give up, right? Let's look at 26 fights, man. 26 victories, actually, to be honest. right? When I look at that, and then I see 8 losses, by the way, I see, first of all, experience in the sport. And I just see a lot of people, when you lose a lot, you see they give up, right? He didn't give up. Right? You know, Robbie Lawler had that intangible, right? And that's what makes him special. And a lot of and if you look at those 3 fights, I feel like personally he was doubted in those 3. I picked against him, actually. I picked Luke Rockhold to beat him. I picked Jacare to beat him. I picked even Corey to beat him because Corey had a victory over him, and I thought Corey was going on a run. I thought he was going to go on a run for that title, right? I just see a guy in Juan Blachowicz as tough, gritty, and, you know, just, I mean, the legendary Polish power, if it's real, then, hey, man, I didn't think it was real, but I think he's been proven. I guess you could say Corey Anderson and Luke Rockhold got no chins, but, hey, man, those knockouts are fucking... I didn't... Especially, you got to give him credit for the Corey Anderson one. I did not expect him doing that. So, he's going to need all of that to beat Dominick Reyes. Would I really look at this fight? It reminds me a lot of Johnny Hendricks versus Robbie Lawler. Especially, yeah, they had 2 fights, right? But I look at that second fight. Johnny Hendricks, you know, he arguably beat the champion, but it didn't go his way with the judges, right? And he was touted to be the next guy, and then you got this tough, gritty other guy. He's been in the UFC for a minute, right? And Robbie Lawler, a guy I don't think a lot of people thought was gonna win that fight. And I honestly feel like Robbie Lawler proved a lot, right, in that fight, and he showed that he's not done, right? He showed his heart. I think Juan Blachowicz is the Robbie Lawler in this fight scenario, and I see Dominick Reyes as Johnny Hendricks. Now, I have a deep level of respect for Johnny Hendricks' career in the beginning, man. His knockouts over John Fitch, and, you know, you just look at, man, like, if you look at some of the things Johnny Hendricks has done in his career, man, like, that guy was killing everybody, bro, back in the day. Man, like, before USADA, bro, that guy was the guy, man, he was the guy, right? But that's how I really look at Dominick Reyes. But the difference between him and Johnny Hendricks is Dominick is a fucking little arrogant prick, right? And like, I've seen people say, oh, he humbled John Jones and this and that. Now, I think John Jones took him seriously, obviously John kind of started it being hostile, but I've never seen a guy that just assumed he's won the championship already, right? Dude, you got to actually beat Juan Blachowicz before you talk, right? And his fans are even a different story. But here's what I see. Blachowicz can win this fight in a lot of different ways, right? I can see him knocking Dominick Reyes out in the 4th and 5th rounds, right? Especially after, you know, him being tired and giving up, like I've seen him do before, and I've seen him make those faces, right? Or Blachowicz could submit him. Go watch that Nikita Krylov fight, how he submitted Nikita Krylov. And Krylov is no joke on the ground. He'll fucking out hustle you. He has a really, really gritty, hustly kind of a top game with his top pressure. And we've seen Dominick Reyes does not do well with that. So there's a lot of ways he can win. Now, how Dominick Reyes wins, you got to look at the Thiago Santos fight with Juan Blachowicz. Blachowicz was throwing a lot of wild shots and going in front. And he got caught with a beautiful step back. I think it was a hook. I think it was a lead or a rear hook or something like that. He got caught beautifully. If he does that with Dominick Reyes is going to catch him with that right. He's going to get him, right? He's going to get him with that cross, right? So that's really the only way I see Dominick winning this fight. I really can't see Dominick winning a decision against Blachowicz. I think he has to knock him out. I could see Blachowicz outworking Dominick Reyes. I don't see the intangibles I need to see out of a champion in Dominick Reyes in terms of those, 4th and 5th rounds, in terms of the heart, the grit. I see that in Juan Blachowicz. I see a guy that really wants to win that title. If he had to put his life on the line to go win that title, he'll do it. I don't think Dominick Reyes is willing to do that. I know I might get some hate for saying this, but I don't think Dominick Reyes is going to beat Juan Blachowicz. I am picking Juan Blachowicz my official pick is probably 4th round submission. I'm going with submission because the knockout's kind of unlikely, but he could do it, and it would be beautiful. But I'm going 4th round submission, Juan Blachowicz. And yeah, that's it for this breakdown. I hope you guys enjoyed. eBay Predictions is out. Go like, comment, and subscribe. Follow my Instagram, follow my Twitter, and I'm out.